Would you like to try painting rocks but don't know where to start? Do you lack confidence in your drawing or painting skills? Or are you struggling to get an end result you're happy with? Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Nairi and my aim is to help you improve your art skills so you can create painted rocks that you are proud of. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I created this cat rock. I'll take you through both how to draw and how to paint the rock, as I find a lot of people don't feel confident about the drawing stage. If you don't have a good initial drawing, you'll never have a great painting at the end, so there's a whole section in this video where I go through it step by step. If you're new to my channel and like this video, please subscribe below, and if you've watched a few of my previous videos and want to jump straight to the drawing, the design and painting steps, you'll find the timestamps in the description below. So let's get started. First off, you're going to need a rock. For this design, you can literally select any shape and size rock you like. You'll need white acrylic paint and a flat brush for applying the base coat, a pencil and a razor for a quick sketch-up of what you're going to be painting, white, apricot and bright yellow acrylic paint colours, plus black for outlining. For this rock, I've used Uni Posca paint pens. The colours I've used are listed below in the description. I tend to use a mixture of both PC3M and PC5M thickness paint pens, and for the black outlining and white corrections or touch-ups, I use Uni Posca pens but the PC1MR thickness. These are as fine a pen as you can get in the Uni Posca range. And finally, you'll need a sealer. So step 1, the first thing you're going to need is a rock, which I buy from my local landscaping supply or hardware store. When selecting a rock for painting, if you can find one that has both a smooth surface and a flat face, this will make drawing your design onto the rock and painting it much easier. Step 2 is preparing the rock for painting. There are two things to do when you are preparing a rock. First, give it a quick wash in warm soapy water. I just use dishwashing liquid and a kitchen scouring pad, and then rinse it off and leave it to dry. Once your rock is dry, I recommend applying 2 base coats of white acrylic paint. This is not essential, but it will make your colours much more vibrant. For this design, I base coat the entire front face of the rock, and I use a flathead brush, as this gives you the best results as it helps to spread the paint smoothly, giving you a nice finish. Before you start applying your base coat, make sure your rock isn't hot from sitting in the sun to dry, as this makes the paint dry too quickly and will limit the amount of time you have to spread and smooth out the paint. If you're having issues with your base coat drying too quickly, you can always dip your paintbrush in some water to help rehydrate the acrylic paint. Finally, it's really important to let your base coat dry completely before moving on to the design. Step 3 is drawing the design onto the rock. For any design, regardless of how easy it is, I'd recommend doing a quick SketchUp on paper first to get familiar with it. So let's go through how to draw the cat. Start by drawing a circle. Now draw a horizontal line above the circle in line with the top of the circle, and a horizontal line below the circle in line with the bottom of it. Next, make a little mark in the centre of the circle, and then cut the centre half of the circle in half again with a little mark. From this point, draw another circle the same size as the first that touches both of the horizontal guidelines at the top and bottom points. Now we want to make another horizontal guideline. Whatever the distance is between the top horizontal guideline and the midpoint of the circle, make another mark roughly this distance above the top horizontal guideline and draw another horizontal line. I've also drawn in the horizontal centre line through both the bottom 2 circles. Now we want to draw a final circle. The bottom of it will start on the horizontal centre line that goes through the bottom 2 circles, at the centre between where these 2 circles intersect, and it will touch the new top horizontal guideline at the top. So again, it will be the same sized circle as the other 2. Now we can draw in the shape of the cat's face. Starting at the top, follow the curve of the circle down and do a slight curve out to join these 2 circles up, and do the same on the left hand side. And then across the bottom, just join the 2 circles together with a straight line. Next, to draw the nose, we'll add a few more guidelines in to help us. So make a mark halfway between the centre point of the bottom left circle and the top of the bottom left circle, and draw a horizontal line. Now make another mark halfway between this new line and the centre point of the bottom left circle and draw another horizontal line. This line will be the top of the nose. The nose is a simple triangle shape which should be the width of the section where the 2 bottom circles overlap. And the bottom of the nose will be in the centre of the horizontal centre line of the bottom 2 circles. To draw the mouth, place 2 little frowny face curves on the horizontal centre line of the bottom 2 circles, so that they are in line with the bottom of the cat's nose and positioned just in from the sides of the circle. Now draw in the mouth, starting at the nose and following the curve of the circle around, but just slightly in from the side of it. and it finishes at the little frown-shaped curves. Now let's draw the white area around the nose, so put a little frown face curve on the horizontal guideline directly above the nose. Now draw in a vertical guideline in the centre of the bottom left and bottom right circles, and then cut the centre halves of the bottom two circles in half again and draw another little vertical guideline at these points. So what you want is for the curve of the nose to come down across the intercept of the newest vertical guidelines and the horizontal guideline that is in line with the top of the nose. Then, starting at the side of the cat's face on this horizontal guideline, draw a line curving up slightly and then down to meet up with the line you have already drawn. Next we can draw on the ears. The bottom of the ears will end on this horizontal guideline and the top of the ears start just down from the top of the head. And the ears have a slight S shape along the top and then a curve that swoops down to join them back up. And for the inner ear, find the point roughly halfway from the top and bottom of the ear, and from here curve in the opposite direction to the top line of the ear, basically creating a mirror image of this line. Then add some shaggy bits into the ears and down each side of the cheek of the cat, starting where the white patch of the nose joins the side of the face. Finally, we want to draw the eyes in. We need to add another horizontal guideline in now to help us with drawing the eyes, so make a mark that cuts these two horizontal guidelines in half and draw in a line. Now to draw the eyes, starting at the points you have marked near the nose, draw a line up towards your latest horizontal guideline that has a gentle curve. Then the line should go slightly above this horizontal guideline, then slightly below the guideline, and then curve up to slightly above the guideline, finishing at the same width as where the bottom line of the ear touches the cat's face. And the bottom of the eye follows the same curve but just slightly down. And last of all, I just add some stripes to the top of the forehead and you've got a cat. Now that you can draw the design on paper, repeat these same steps onto your rock. The next step is to get on and start painting the rock. Whilst you might be tempted at this stage to draw black outlines around your image on the rock to make it easier to paint, I would avoid doing this. Drawing your image in black on your rock with a permanent marker might seem like a great idea, as the paint pens are water soluble and therefore won't lift or smudge permanent marker lines. However, you may find when you apply your sealer at the end, because it will be solvent based so it can handle harsh outdoor conditions, it may liquefy your permanent marker, which could result in your black lines bleeding and losing their sharp, crisp edges. An alternative is to draw black outlines with a superfine Posca paint pen. However, this is less than ideal too, as because they are water-based, when you go to colour in the image with the other paint pens, you may find they keep picking up black on their nibs and muddying your colours, as well as requiring you to continuously clean off your nibs on paper. So if you can, stick to just using your pencil sketch. This rock is quick and easy to paint. I like to start by using a white paint pen to cover any pencil markings I don't want, as this saves time later down the track, as although Posca pens are quite opaque, sometimes the pencil lines will show through. Don't worry if you accidentally go over a few lines that you need. I often do this on purpose to lighten them up, as one coat of white won't completely cover them. If you find it painful to watch paint dry, I use a hairdryer to speed up the process. Posca paint pens do dry very quickly, so just give it a quick blast, as you don't want your rock to heat up too much. Make sure you give your pens a good shake before you start painting with them to ensure the pigment is well mixed through. When shaking the pens, ensure you have the lid on to ensure no paint splatters onto your rock or the area you're painting, as this can happen when you shake the pens. Then start applying the colours in any order you like. Make sure you apply at least 2 coats of colour so that you get a bright, vibrant and even paint finish. Before applying the second coat, you need to make sure the first coat of paint is dry. At this stage, I also like to give the paint pens a really good shake, again with the lid on, and then pump the nib a few times to ensure you've got the paint flowing really well. As when you apply the second coat, you want to just glide lightly over the surface of the first coat. I'll often put the lid back on, shake the pen and then pump the nib a number of times throughout doing a coat. After I apply the dark orange, which is actually called bright yellow on the Posca paint pen, I can still see some pencil lines showing through. So I've gone over these pencil markings with the white paint pen to completely cover them up, and then I put the orange back over the top once this is dry. I find the colours which have yellow in them, so yellows, oranges and greens, are less opaque, so it's much quicker and easier to use white to cover up any unwanted lines than it is to apply multiple coats of these colours. Now, once everything is painted, I use my black PC 1MR paint pen to do the outlining. This is when the painting will really start to come together, but it's also the stage where you may feel a bit nervous. Don't worry, if you make mistakes, they're really very easy to fix, and the more relaxed you are, the easier you will find this. In terms of advice, when it comes to black outlining, I'd recommend you move your rock around to whatever position your hand feels comfortable. I'd also recommend you try to have your hand that is painting gently resting on the table or part of the rock to help stabilise it while you paint. And finally, don't feel like you have to do a whole line in one go. Instead, you can apply shorter black lines, which means you are only painting within a comfortable and controllable range of motion. If you make a mistake at any stage, just wait for the paint to dry and then touch it up with a few layers of the colour you want it to be. You may need to go back over the black line again after this. Also, after you've painted on the black outlines, if you're anything like me, they won't track perfectly against the colours. So you can always go back with your colours and touch up any areas. And you're done! The final step is to seal your rock. Before you put your rock outside in the elements, or inside for that matter, you want to make sure your paint is protected by applying a sealer. I use an exterior grade spray varnish. These should ideally be non-yellowing and have UV stabilisers. Before applying, ensure your paint is completely dry, and then I like to apply 2 coats of a gloss varnish over all painted areas. Make sure you apply the sealant outside where you are well ventilated and have a clean, dry, non-fluffy drop cloth underneath. If you can apply light coats, this will avoid the varnish from running. And that's it. If you've enjoyed this video and want to see more, please click like and the subscribe button below.